Hello, Dancing with the Stars fans. I'm Daniel Montgomery, editor for Gold Derby, here with Joyce Eng, Cordell Martin, and Jeffrey Kerr to talk about the season finale of Dancing with the Stars Athletes, which, as we were recording this, was last night on May 21st. We're recording this on the 22nd. And in keeping, to keep this proportional with last night's show, that's all the time we have. So thank you guys for joining me. It was a fairly it felt rushed to me, and Adam Rippon won. First of all, let's talk about Adam Rippon's win. I don't think any of us were surprised by it. He's been the front runner since before the cast was announced, and we thought he would probably join the cast. So what do you think about it, Cordell?
Yeah, to your point, there wasn't any big surprises. Like, we knew Adam was going to win. I will say that I was definitely surprised with Tanya and Josh's performances, especially their freestyles. I thought that they did an amazing job with their freestyles, and had this been a longer season, I could see like a Josh pulling out a surprise win in any other season.
What did you think about it, Jeffrey?
Well, yeah, I thought the win was well-deserved, even though, of course, it was pretty much what we were expecting all along. But still, it was at least well-deserved for them. I mean, I thought their first scene in round one was very skillful. I thought their freestyle was terrific. So, yeah, I am happy with that win for Adam and Jenna. I mean, of course, who knows? Had this been a longer season, if we would have had a little more suspense. But in any case, I'm satisfied.
And how about you, Joyce?
Yeah, it just went the way we all expected it to. So I'm happy for him. Like, he was clearly the best dancer of the group. I do agree. I don't know if he still would have won if it was a regular season, but he deserved it. And I do think, I'm not going to say the show was rigged, but he had a lot of things stacked in his favor, because he had contemporary last week and he had jazz this week and the freestyle. Like, we don't count the freestyle, obviously, but those are two dances. They're not standard Latin or ballroom dances, but they don't have rigid structure or technique. So, and that, that's a style, and they just gave him dances that suited him. So I think the producers, the powers that be, kind of helped him out in that regard as well. Not that I think he would have bombed like a Paso Doble or anything, but it would have been exciting to see him tackle that.
Oh yeah, I would have loved to see it. I think he actually would have been great at a Paso Doble, but yeah. I sort of feel like they didn't give anyone a samba, which I think is good, because it would have been unfair, because nobody's good at a samba, and so that would have, with only 4 weeks, that would have really crippled somebody. But on the opposite end of that, they shouldn't have given anyone contemporary either.
No contemporary or jazz,
Yeah,
because I felt like if we were gonna do 4 weeks, then we were gonna see the actual standard Latin and ballroom dances. They didn't need to throw in these extra dances they only tossed in a couple years ago because they wanted to draw in younger viewers. But nope, he got contemporary and jazz.
It does seem so, especially contemporary. It seems so easy to I could get give me a couple hours, I could get it.
It's basically a freestyle. That's what it is.
Yeah. So yeah, I do agree that could have been handled a little better with the styles. I would have loved to see him do a Paso Doble. I would have loved to see someone do an Argentine tango.
Oh yeah, I love Argentine tangos. Are my favorite.
Those are the best, because those are the ones that make Len uncomfortable because they're too sexy for him. And it would have been so much fun to see Alan and Mirai. I think Mirai Nagase would have destroyed an Argentine tango.
Yeah.
So it would have been nice to see that routine from somebody. But speaking of the routines, and we talked about the freestyle, it's there are no rules, easy 10s. Adam Rippon got the worst criticisms of the entire run that he's gotten for his freestyle after I
don't think anyone was expecting that.
They were throwing out 10s to these people like they were Tic Tacs. They were just 10, 10, 10. And Tanya, I thought, deserved those 10s. Those were fine. Josh deserved those 10s for his freestyle. Those were fine. But I mean, Adam Rippon got 10s for the glad dance he did right before, which I didn't think was so much better than his freestyle. And you could see it on Adam's face when Carrie Ann was giving her critiques. He's Like he was like shaken by like, oh wait, you didn't like that? You're supposed to like everything now. That was the easy dance. What did you think about those comments and those scores, Joyce?
I think that was definitely after seeing it, because I didn't watch it live. I just watched it actually like 20 minutes ago. But after seeing it,
you watched it 20 minutes ago and you finished watching it 60.
Yeah. I watched the whole show. But I can see why it was divisive, because it felt like I haven't even ever seen So You Think You Can Dance, but it felt like a So You Think You Can Dance, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And, Jenna is obviously from that show. It wasn't bad. I kind of felt like he got lost in it. And, like they all had the extra troop dancers and their freestyles, but I felt like you couldn't take your eyes off of Tanya or Josh and theirs. Like the troop dancers like faded in the background. Whereas with Adam's, like there was just, I don't know if like it was like the darkness of it, because you couldn't really see him either. The lighting, it was very weird, but like I just felt like he got like swallowed up in the routine, and it like I probably would not watch that again. It wasn't one of my favorite freestyles, but I don't think it was like horrible or anything. It just I think people were expecting him to like really seal the deal with it, and it kind of underwhelmed.
Yeah, I do. What I wish there had been was, I really like the music. I like the weird style of it. I wish there had been a little bit more complex choreography for him.
Yeah,
that was the one thing that I felt I was missing. Like they like Tanya Harding was doing backflips and somersaults throughout her.
Yeah, he never felt like the star of the routine.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird.
Yeah, what did you think about it, Jeffrey?
Oh, well, about Tanya's, you mean?
About Adams.
Well, I mean, well, again, I thought, Adam did some nice work last night. I mean, I thought round one, skillful, round two, terrific. And even though he probably didn't get as high of a score in the second round as he did in the first, where, of course, the judges went all out on perfect scores through, I guess, to all three remaining couples.
And what did you think about that last routine and those scores, Cordell?
Yeah, I think what often happens with Dance with the Stars, usually the most skilled contestant, you're just so used to them being so perfect that when it comes to the freestyle, you're just left disappointed. And that's what I felt with Adam, that I was expecting just a show-stopping routine, and I felt a little disappointed. And I just felt that he, to Joyce's point, just all eyes weren't on him. Like he just got lost in the shuffle, as opposed to Josh and Tanya, who I felt their pro partners really did a great job at showcasing them and their journey and making it about them.
Yeah. And I think we saw in that a little bit of what might have happened in a longer season, because we do see that happen where someone peaks really soon, and then they start getting dinged by the judges a little bit. That's your Heather Morris effect, your Normani Corday effect. Your Charlie White effect. These
Charlie was lowball the whole time.
Well, that's true. Yeah, but you have Simone Biles. I think that also happened too. These people who peak really early and they seem on paper like they're great, and that's how Rashad Jennings ended up winning his season against Normani, who had the best scores. And I think we would have seen that with Josh Norman potentially overtaking him in the longer season. But speaking of Josh Norman and Tanya, one thing we didn't learn last night because of time constraints with American Idol was we don't know who finished second and who finished third. So it's basically just like this nebulous blob of second and third place, which I guess doesn't really matter, but I'm sort of a stickler. Like I go on Wikipedia and I see that.
I know the third place is blank.
Yeah, and so you just have that one that doesn't match. It has two names here instead of one there. It's like, no. Give me a second and a third place. I like consistency for the sake of history in terms of, looking back over the history of the show and of awards and stuff, other stuff like that we cover. What did you think about that, and who do you think finished second, Cordell?
I think it just robbed the audience of just, that experience. Usually with the finale, you look forward to who's going to place third and who's going to be the runner-up and ultimately who's going to win. So I felt a little robbed, you know, when they're just like, "Oh, the winner is Adam. All right, good night."
They literally started rolling the credits as soon as they announced his name.
And like Adam and Jenna didn't even get like, you know, lifted up by the rest of the dancers and all that fun stuff. So it was really odd. I think between Josh and Tanya, I think Josh probably was the runner up and Tanya was third. I think Josh is just a typical NFL player that's really popular, can move, that usually ends up either first or second. So I think he just fits that mold. And Tanya is just that contestant that, you know, you saw their growth and was able to really root for them. So she was kind of the underdog that usually tends to place them third, like a Kelly Osbourne or a Frankie Muniz. So I think that's how the results went.
Yeah. What about you, Joyce?
I think Josh was probably second and Tanya third, but if they had done the result show tonight, like they normally do, like a 2-night finale, I think Tanya could have been second, because then everyone would have had more time to vote. The whole country would have been able to vote, because West Coast didn't get to vote last night. And that was her freestyle, you know, like that's the make it or break it dance. And I think that definitely won a lot of people over. And I think it was a lot of people's favorites. Like, you know, it was kind of close between like her and Josh's, but she also had the story and she's the underdog. And, you know, she, you know, sometimes the underdogs finish second too, like Kirstie Alley. You know, we knew she wasn't winning, but she finished second. So I think if there was more time, she probably would have finished second.
What do you think, Jeffrey?
Well, I agree. I think Josh Norman might have been the runner-up. Well, first runner-up with Tanya in third place. In fact, on Wikipedia right now, they're both listed in alphabetical order as runners-up. So yeah, but yeah, I think Josh probably came in second. I mean, not only based on his work from last night, which I thought first round outstanding, second round incredible, but also I guess from the judges' scores he received, like, I mean, again, all the couples got one perfect score in one of their rounds. So, and yeah, I'd say Josh was like a higher score than Tanya from the judges, whereas Tanya received 1 8 and 2 9s in the first round and a perfect score in the second, while Josh and Shauna got all 9s in the first round and all 10s in the second round. So I'd say Josh and Shauna probably could have come in second place, though I agree with Joyce's points saying that, you know, had this been a 2-night finale, Tanya probably would have had a chance to sneak into second place.
I actually think if this had been a 2-night finale, I feel like, given the last impression is how
we could have a different winner.
Yeah, Josh could have won. He could have won if
like Tanya could have won. Like, yeah. I think about season 16 because everyone thought Zendaya was winning with Val, Jenna's boyfriend. And Kelly Pickler was just one of those like slow burning people who improve over the season, but she had the better freestyle. And they did the complete opposite. Like they stripped down that freestyle. That was like a contemporary routine. Whereas Bao, like he admits it himself, like he completely let Zendaya down with their freestyle. It was like totally weird. It was like hip hop, like hybrid with kids. It was weird. And yeah, and the next day Kelly won.
Yeah, I think that also happened with, not to beat up on Val too much, but with Normani. They did a very stripped down kind of just showing off her technical skill, but it didn't have that wow showmanship factor that Rashad Jennings ended up having, and that David Ross ended up having. You know, David Ross wasn't as good a dancer as Normani, but like his freestyle kind of showcased exactly what people liked about him. And so, yeah, freestyle.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing about Adam's freestyle too, because I think a lot of people like take the freestyle to represent like the person's journey on the show or something, or just something about them. And I guess like that does represent a part of Adam, but it didn't really like tell it. Yeah, I know, but it didn't really tell like a complete story like Tanya's, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Tanya's doing "I Will Survive" was just pretty much like I felt like. Because the season was so short, they had to not just rush the routines, they had to rush the narrative. So like they raced from, oh, America forgive me to America has forgiven me in the after 4 weeks. And I'm not so sure all of America had already gotten behind her.
Oh no, there's still people who hate her.
But Carrie-Anne Inaba is like, we all love you now. You've redeemed yourself. It's like she's been here for 4 weeks and we haven't forgotten anything.
She never got the breakdown episode, so
yeah.
So they just kind of rushed her, past Act 2, and she, put her into the third act of her resurrection journey of public appeal. One things that I was disappointed by in the finale is I wish they had only done the freestyle dance, and I wish they had just forget about the first dance. I don't think anyone even cared about the first dance by the end of the night, and just do 3 freestyles, but twice as long. So they can learn 3 minutes of choreography, but not broken up that way. Just give them a good 3-minute big showcase freestyle, and that would have been more fun. What do you think about that, Jeffrey?
Sorry, about
if they had just done a freestyle, instead of doing 2 routines, and just made the freestyle longer.
I guess that would have been interesting. I'm not entirely sure, but hey, they would at least be able to focus more on that dance with the freestyle alone instead of, I guess, another dance they were doing last night. I mean, as they say, less is more.
What do you think, Cordell?
Yeah, I think that probably would have been the best move, considering it was only for an hour. And then that way they'll be able to have, in between each dances, opportunity to bring back all the former contestants, have them dance one last time, and everyone just, have their little moment under the sun. I think that would have been the best bet for them to do.
And how about you, Joyce?
Yeah, that would have been better. I know all of your dances are 90 seconds, but sometimes some people's dances just seem to be over way too soon. So, and especially something for a freestyle, I think you always want to see more of it. But I think it's also their stamina, I think it would have been different in a 10-week season when their bodies are more attuned to that kind of schedule. But with 4 weeks, especially with Adam doing Stars and Ice 2, I don't think it would have been feasible for him to do a 3-minute routine like that. But I don't know. Maybe that's why their freestyle was like that too.
Or since Dancing with there was such a rush just to get to Dancing with to American Idol, what they should have done is done the freestyles, done the vote calculations, and then save the announcement until the end of American Idol. And then when the winner of American Idol is crowned, they serenade the winner of Dancing with the Stars.
Oh.
They'll sing a moment like this.
Because they also shoot right next to each other, so you could just bring them over.
Just literally walk across the street or across the line.
I just didn't understand. I just felt like ABC really disrespected the show. Not just with the 4-week thing, but the 1-hour finale, whereas Idol got 2 nights and a 2-hour result show. If you're only going to do 1 night for dancing, it should have been a 2-hour finale, and the Idol result show could have been 1 hour.
Well, hopefully ABC is able to resolve that problem with their spring schedule next year.
Yeah, they still haven't renewed dancing for next spring. They just renewed it for the fall, so we don't know what they're going to do.
And Dancing with the Stars Junior.
Oof.
Yeah, that's going to be weird. But that's the fall thing, too. That's going to be pre-taped.
I'd say that's a good sign for the future of the show in general, though, that, because the ratings were down for this 4-week season, I imagine, in large part because there were people who were fans of the show even who were just like, I'll come back in the fall. I'm not doing this 4-week thing. So the fact that, they brought the show back for not only a regular cycle of Dancing with the Stars, but also Dancing with the Stars Junior might be kind of, a show of
But they ordered juniors literally a year ago. They just took more than a year to get it off the ground. Because when they announced athletes, people were like, is that replacing juniors? And they were like, no, that's still happening, just later.
Or maybe what they're doing is because they're foreseeing next spring's conflict. So we're going to do 2 fall seasons of Dancing with the Stars, and then we're just going to take the spring off. I can see them doing that. And honestly, I would almost prefer that to the 4-week thing.
Yeah, and Tom tweeted that he doesn't think they'll ever do 4 weeks again, just based on how this went and the fan response.
Mm-hmm.
So
Any closing thoughts about season 26, or really season 25 and a half, Cordell?
Overall, I just felt as a longtime fan of the show that it just didn't feel like a Dance with Stars season to me. And I was just disappointed. Like when they announced that it was going to be an all-athlete season, I was excited about the potential contestants, and then just the way that it was executed, I thought it was done poorly and was a disservice to those long-time Dance with Stars viewers like myself.
What did you think, Jeffrey? Any closing thoughts?
Well, I thought it was a nice little experiment, even though it probably didn't work entirely. I mean, I think in the future they can at least stick with concepts of like a themed season, like all athletes or former child stars or wrestlers or all that. I mean, I think they can stick with themed seasons like that. It's just maybe not truncated. Just allow a little more time to invest in the competition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or I actually have a great idea: Dancing with the Stars Ringers, which is just going to be an entire season of Beyonce backup dancers and gymnasts and and skaters, and bringing someone from Alvin Ailey or something, just like all ringers who So,
I mean, they are overdue for another All Stars.
Yeah,
I think they should do a second chance dance, like people who went too soon, like who did really well, like a Charlie White, like a Alexa Penavega, people who maybe deserved a little bit better than they got, and sort of went home too soon. So that would be great, like a second, because we don't need like Rashad Jennings to come back and do another season. He had a great season.
I feel like a lot of champions like shouldn't come back anyway. Like like some of them came back for the first All Stars. I'm like, it's like there's a very little chance that you will win again, because it's not just scores; it's also people voting for you, and there's people who like want to spread the love too. Like it's very hard to win twice, and I think that's also why Shawn lost, even though she probably should have won.
And you're also going up against other past winners, so even the dancing, level is going to be harder to keep up with.
Oh yeah, an unfair advantage.
That was our recap of Dancing with the Stars, the season finale, which was roughly 33 to 35% the length of the actual Dancing with the Stars finale. We would have fit in our freestyle comments, but we have to cut to like an Idol slugfest or something next. So thank you, the three of you, for joining me, and thank you everyone for watching. We will see you next season.
Mm-hmm.